Welcome again, everybody, to another chapter of Muskogee Ruffer Basketball Coaches Show. I'm your host, Bill Huddleston, along with the head coach of the Muskogee Ruffers boys basketball program, Lloyd Williams. Things getting better day by day, baby steps, one day at a time.
They are. As a coaching staff, we're really happy right now with the progress of our team. After the Bixby game, came in, had a little rough practice, and it's paid off. Our team's direction is really going really smooth right now.
When you talk about a little rough practice, in other words, what he's trying to say is things got up close and personal, so to speak, face-to-face conversations, and then out on the practice floor, guys kind of got on each other's shorts.
Yes, we did. We had a couple of practices there where we had to get our point across to them that we don't quit. We're going to fight to the end. We're going to fight to the end of the season. We're going to fight to the end of every game. And we felt like a little bit of that. We got off track a little bit towards the Bixby game, but I think we're fixed up now.
Well, you knew coming into this season that this was going to be a work in progress. I mean, it was obvious with the lack of playing time that these young men had, they were going to have to find themselves individually and then as a group.
Yes, we're still, and they're still doing it. Everybody talks about our youth, and everybody talks about, we playing sophomores and freshmen. Our seniors are just like juniors and sophomores as well, because they didn't play a whole lot last year, and they're learning on the fly just as well. Every time that we're out there, it's all underclassmen, and they may not be named juniors and seniors or juniors and sophomores and freshmen, but their play level right now, as they're growing right now, is probably at a junior level. And
it's a sophomore type situation too, because of a new coaching staff and an entirely different approach to the game.
There's no question about it. This is a project, and I think a lot of people I don't think understands all the work that's going into it. Like you said, there's a new system. When you talk about the coaches, there's a new system when you talk about what our game plans are. And now you're talking about new kids as well. I mean, that's a lot of newness. And even though we're 6.5 months into it, it still doesn't mean it's perfect right now. It still has a lot of work to be done.
Well, still got the second half of the season. Some very important games coming up for Muskogee as far as where you'll be assigned for the upcoming regionals. But just in this week alone, I mean, the Monday night game against Noah, the Tuesday night game at Jinx, you saw a lot of upside.
Oh my goodness! We got back here and played Noah, and Noah's a really good team. A lot of people don't know a lot about Noah, but they got some really good players on that team. I knew that was going to be a good test for us, and our kids came out. We responded. We went over to Jinx, and we should have had the game. But as I was talking to you before we got on, I'm not quite sure we understand how to win those games just yet, but no doubt about it, I am so satisfied for what our team has done, going over to Jinx and battling all the way through and having a chance to win at the end.
Well, certainly you knew it was going to be a very competitive environment. Anytime you try to go inside Frank Harrell Fieldhouse, you better bring your best game.
That's right. I used to coach at Jinx, and I used to work for Clay Martin, so I understand what they bring to the floor every time they step into the gym.
Well, Ruffer basketball fans also remember when Martin was here and the type of teams that he put on the floor while at Muskogee High School, so that was no real surprise. We're going to take a break. When we come back on the other side of the break, though, we're going to come back and take a look at some of the highlights from the game against Noah, and we'll also get a chance to meet one of the Muskogee Ruffers for the 2012 basketball campaign. That is this chapter of Muskogee Ruffer Basketball Coaches Show continues here after this timeout on TV 15.
Role models are more important today than ever. You can serve as a role model for others the next time you display good sportsmanship. Good sports are winners, so remember, sportsmanship is everyone's responsibility. Do the right thing.
And welcome back on this chapter of Muskogee High School Ruffer Basketball Coaches Show. Coach Lloyd Williams and myself going to take a look at some of the highlights from action earlier this week. Ruffers were at home on Monday night of this week against Noah. And Coach, right off the tip, you go score.
Well, yeah, right off the tip, we're running in our secondary break, and Tramal does everybody execute. Perfect spacing on the floor, great timing on the pass from Anthony. We couldn't draw it up any better.
That's exactly the way it's supposed to work.
Yep, man. You see on the second possession right here, Frank scores that bucket, and that's right out of that's the end of the play. So, and then we're doing some. I mean, looking at these highlights, the thing one of the things that we emphasize to our team, we got to get off the better starts, and we did. We did a better start. Here is a really great start with a dunk from Jamal. But as you look at these highlights, what's happening is our team is doing a very good job of being the aggressor. We're coming out and we're attacking people before they attack us.
Well, certainly it's a situation with a young ball club. Believing is the key to success.
Oh, there's no question about it. And early starts is great for a young basketball team. That gets them believing. When they come out and they have early success, they start believing that they can just about do anything.
Another shot from the corner there, another three, and early on things were going three, then got close, kind of exciting down the end, drive to the rim, get fouled, made the free throw, and got out of there with the win. And the guy was sitting right between the two of us, Coach, is one of your seniors, Frank Jones, and I know you're very glad to have this guy stepping up his talent.
Oh, he is. Frank has a tough task every time we step out there because we're asking Frank to go guard the best player on everybody's team, best wing player. That's not always fun for him because I know that he probably thinks that that's all we want him to do, but we ask him to go out there and guard, and then we ask him also to perform offensively. That's not always easy, but he has never once backed down from a person and has never once complained about going out and doing his job. And
of
that's
course,
why
the
we
guy
love him.
that's between the two of us is senior Frank Jones. And Frank, it was kind of fun starting a game Monday night against Noah, especially when you can pop out there at the corner and just rip the three.
Yeah. It's an honor for me to play for the coaches, our new coaches as well. And for us as a team, we just have to step up and play because people don't expect us to do a lot on this because this is first time for us, all of us be on varsity. And so we got to step together and play as a team, play smart and play together. And that's what we're trying to do.
Well, obviously, you brought it up. I mean, it's a learning situation for the players of your responsibility of playing on the floor, learning what the coaches are expecting of you. What's been the most difficult thing from the players' perspective? I know you guys go in the locker room, and when the coaches are gone, you tell it how it really is.
Yeah.
So here on our TV show today, go ahead and tell us how it really is. Forget what coaches said.
To be honest, it's like for us, it's hard for us to play up to the expected, but they know they believe in us, and we have to believe in ourselves just as much as they do. And so that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to come together as a team, and we're trying to get the start of that, but we need to come to it as soon as off tip-off and right all the way through the four quarters.
Yeah, it's a lot easier when you're playing down the ladder, Lloyd, than when you're trying to continue almost keep your head just above water.
That's you're absolutely right. And our team, I think if you came and watch them play, I think every game you watch them play from the third quarter on, I think you're seeing great effort. And the one thing we're trying to still work with is the first, second quarter where, like you said, where we can play downhill as opposed to always playing uphill.
And conditioning plays into that factor. And these guys, they're obviously in pretty good shape. Now, Frank, we were talking about, Coach was mentioning, you get the assignment of the defensive stopper.
Yeah.
What do you do defensively to try to make your skills overplay that of the other guy?
I just have to keep him in front and try to limit his skills of what he's usually doing out on the court. Like if he's he's a three-point shooter, I have to lock him down, make sure he doesn't score any threes. If he likes to drive, keep him in front. Don't let him go to the basket and just help the team out when they need me.
Well, obviously, Coach, he's kind of got that schematic down, and we've seen some signs of that this season. Now, this is your senior campaign.
Yes, sir.
Once May comes, Frank Jones' time at Muskogee High School is done. What are your thoughts after high school? What do you want to do? First of all, let's get the academic side.
Yeah.
Let's make your academic teachers really happy. Want to make sure that they know you're taking care of your books. What's your favorite class?
Math right now.
Math, okay. Yeah. Well, that kind of goes into playing defense, too, doesn't it?
Yeah, that's at the right angles. And the geometry's probably paying off for him right now.
Okay, and then after high school, kind of what are you looking forward to as you go into the adulthood?
I want to be able to go into college and major in career engineering computers. Go on from there.
All right. Wow. He's already stepped his level. That technology part is going to pay off big dividends, and that's where that math will pay off, too.
That's right. I had to come back and borrow some money from him.
Well, maybe he can help us out with some of our scouting reports, too, and keeping up with all those good numbers. Frank Jones, who's a senior member of the basketball program, stepping in here with us. Coach Williams and myself will come back to put a wrap on this week's show. After we take this time out, you're watching the Muskogee Rougher Basketball Coaches Show here on TV 15.
Respect of the opponent, spectators, coaches, and officials is necessary at all levels of athletics and activity programs. Sportsmanship is everyone's responsibility. Do the right thing.
Welcome back on TV 15's Muskogee Rougher Basketball Coaches Show. Coach Lloyd Williams and myself, Bill Huddleston. And Coach, we're getting into the part of the season where every game becomes literally playoff important, because as you progress over the next 2 weeks, even though those games, the early part of February before the playoffs begin, are important to the win and loss and kind of the psyche of the team, what you do between now and basically February 1 will determine where you will be and who you will play in the upcoming 6A playoff picture.
No, there's no question about it. Right now is a very critical time in our season. We played a bumpy, it's been a tough last 3-4 games for us, being out there on the road. Thank goodness, right now is the time that we need to really make a good 3-4 game stretch. And we really believe we can. We're playing, believe it or not, our best basketball is about to start coming. We saw signs of it the other night at Jinx, but this is really critical. Like you said, we have to be playing at a level to where when we get to the playoffs, we believe we can beat anybody.
Well, believability, like we've talked through this whole program, is the key to the Ruffers' success. And, this far into the season now, the freshmen are now sophomores. The sophomores are now juniors. The juniors, seniors, and seniors, well, they've just got an extra year of eligibility.
That's right.
And they've got to play that out here in the final half of the season. But like we were talking about, what happens between now and February 1st will determine what teams will be matched up against. And as you take a look at the playoff picture right now in 6A, obviously Union's going to be one of those top squads that'll host one of the regionals. Got to think Booker T's in there. Bartlesville and Jinx probably the other two at this particular point. But all that can change over the final couple of weeks.
It can. I think those top 4 teams, it'd be hard for them to move, but it can. And our thing is that we have to be able to position ourselves to not be able to play one of those guys in the first round on their home floor. If we can avoid that, we're going to have a chance. And then again, I look at it and say, after playing Jinx how we did last night, we actually have a chance to even beat some of those guys on their home floor. We just, like I've been telling our team the whole time, if you're playing your best basketball at the right time, doesn't really matter where you play. I try to tell them all the time, basketball is played in your room. It's played out in your front yards. It doesn't matter the place. It's still basketball. And they're starting to understand that, and if we could get it going at the right time, we're going to be a fearless group when it comes to the playoffs.
And Ruffers have a little bit of a break this week before you get into the remainder of the schedule, because having already played your 2 tournaments leaves you with a few days here that you can spend valuable time working on what's important to the Ruffers in practice every day.
Yes, I almost love it this way. A lot of teams are going to be playing games. We need this time to capitalize on how we're playing right now with these practices, and they're going to be very critical for us right now, because really, if you look at the rest of our season, when we start practice today, we will go through and we probably won't have another good week of practice like we will. So this is basically it for us as far as practice. So we need to have a good practice.
Well, Ruffers will be looking to get back into action, and that's against Owasso next week?
Yes, sir. Next Tuesday.
Now, that won't be an easy walk in the park either, because the Rams are playing very
good
right
now, too.
Very
well. Yeah,
so it'll be an exciting time. We hope to be able to follow it with our cameras and bring you some of the video highlights in the upcoming shows, but certainly giving you a chance to know the players like Frank Jones, who was with Coach Williams and myself earlier on here in the program. That's going to about put a wrap on it for this edition of the Muskogee Ruffer Basketball Coaches Show. Let me tell you, do yourself a favor. Get out and show your support for the Ruffers. Get out and back the coach, back the players. Find yourself a seat in the gym when the Ruffers come back to Ron Milam. We hope to see you there at game time. For Coach Lloyd Williams, I'm Bill Huddleston. So long for now on this chapter of Muskogee Ruffer Basketball Coaches Show.